What's good, y'all? It's Wanyá from Epic CW, and we're here for a special video of sorts. What today we've got lined up is actually a video of our 1 year anniversary of our Traxxas Slash. I got this car about a year ago as of the making of this video, and I've put it through the ringer. You guys have seen it in multiple videos that I've done by myself, that I've done with Curtis. It's been thrashed, bashed, crashed into every single wall that I've been racing this car at that's had walls. I've flipped this car thousands of times easily. But like I said, it's been about a year since I've owned the car, and I haven't had to replace too many things from the car. It's basically all stock from when I had originally got it a year ago. But I thought that it would be a pretty cool idea to do a video of kind of showing off the damages that I've had, what I've had to replace, what I've had to jerry-rig to get this car to continue to work and to continue making content for you guys at home. Now, I would like to start off by mentioning a couple of times where this car has actually taken damage in videos, and you guys can go back and see that damage, or where it's just completely crapped out on itself. And I'll explain those moments, or some of those moments, here in a second. But first, I want to talk about my most recent fix, which was with the drive arms. So you guys can see up here for both of the drive arms, which, if I tilt the car a little bit forward, it's this little black bar that sits on top of this green little plastic bit that has these zip ties around it. And so it looks a little bit different from the bottom. That's what it should look like without that green panel. But I basically just jerry-rigged this to my car, because if you guys can see, I don't know if you're gonna, yeah, you might be able to see it. On that side right there, right here, right there, that drive arm head broke in just that small little spot, and it made it so that the car's suspension was a little bit messed up, the turning was a little bit fucky, and I could race the car, but I didn't want to further damage it to the point where when I go and make videos in a couple of days for content that's being released throughout the month, the car just doesn't break like it has in previous videos. Like the one that came out, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was Curtis and I at the park nearby, and his car just completely crapped out. And that was his car specifically, so it doesn't really have anything to do with mine. But I remember the time before that when we had recorded, we were at a track trying to do a whole track racing video, and then later on we moved over to these dirt mounds, and we were racing my car versus his Typhon, my Slash versus his Typhon, just jumping it around the area and kind of drifting it around the gravel pits that were there. And when we were doing that video, the back of the car, one of the axles had actually broke. So if you guys can see on this side here, there's like a metal bar that you can kind of see that goes across. I'm pointing at it. And then on this side here, it's the same metal bar, but it's a different color. So essentially I had to go ahead and take out the entire axle for, I believe it's the left side, or no, it might be the right side because it's this side. So for the right side of the car, I had to take out the entire axle, refit another axle in, and then place all the tires and all the stuff back together. But for that, when you do that, you have to take apart the whole drive arm in the back. So it was kind of a pain, but we got it done. The car does wobble a little bit in the back, but it's still drivable. Everything's tight, everything's solid. Those were really the biggest things that I had to repair on this car. If we take a look underneath the hood here, and actually right before we do that, this is the body it didn't come with the car. The body that came with the car, I actually haven't used too much. It's in a very, very, very good condition for being a year old. But this is the one that I used for initially for just grass, and then I took it on the concrete a little bit, and you can kind of see it's all like messed up in the back here. It's got holes right there. It's got a hole at the top. It's all scratched up. You guys might be able to see the scratches in there. Hand painted, or I guess it might be like a sticker that's burned on, actually, now that I think about it. Could have been either airbrushed or a sticker. But that is the condition of a body after about a year. Honestly, it should be in a lot worse condition, if not just completely broken and you'll have to buy a new one within a year. But I've, again, kind of taken this off-road for most of the year, and then lately I've been taking it on-road and bashing it in the street. And for the innards of the car, everything I have in here is, honestly, it's all stock. This here is the original ESC that it came with. The motor, which should turn the car around. The motor in the back right here, 15 or 12 turn motor. I did have to change out once just because I was a dumbass and drove this thing through a massive puddle. It was super fun, but sucked a lot because it burnt out the motor in like 2 minutes. Really cool donuts and stuff like that, but the motor is waterproof. The ESC is waterproof, but it's not water resistant. It's or I should say it the other way around. It's water resistant, but it's not waterproof. So it can get wet, and if it's raining or if you just like drive through a couple of puddles, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you drive through a massive puddle for your entire bashing session, then your car is probably going to shut off. I don't recommend that unless you have like a high suspension motor, like for the TRX4, where those things are built for, you know, traveling through water or something like that. Other than that, I have these green caps on for suspension. Those are something that I put on about 2 weeks after I bought the car. Lights still work in the car. Everything else is fine. I never changed to the low center gravity chassis, and that's why it still flips very often, which I might actually change that out if we have a problem in the future with this car, because Traxxas chassis are pretty strong. However, this one is plastic, and it's a little warped if I'm looking at it, you know, from the angle that I'm looking at right now. It's kind of warped if you hold it straight. And it could always, you know, bend into a shape that makes the car undrivable, so, or breaks other pieces on the car, which we don't want. So I might switch to that low center gravity chassis. Might order one eventually for the second year of owning this car. Tires, you guys see that I have bigger tires, wider tires in the back than I do in the front. Basically I have size 2s in the back, size 1s in the front. And they're not bad. It gives me better acceleration just because bigger tires kind of are better with ballooning. They don't balloon as much if you have more force in the back. To the front tires, where if these tires were in the back, then they would balloon a lot more. Because these are bigger, it would have to require a lot more force and torque from the motor to actually balloon these tires. So I like the bigger tires in the back. I think it gives me a little bit more acceleration off the line, and you don't have to worry about the car flipping back. Even though you do have this kind of wheelie bar thing, it just does help. And again, I kind of want to just show the green panels that I put on for another time, since we're going over it. Now I did use this kind of plant-based, it is actually plant-based, it's not a joke here, mesh material, and you guys can kind of see it's easy to rip apart. It's actually like, you know, it bends super easy. If you had a pair of scissors, it'll break or cut. I did kind of just bend it there. Like, I could break this with my fingers, but You know, so that's what I had used for these panels up here, and essentially it's just to keep these driving arms straight, because like I said, the one on the right here, or on the left here, had broke off, and when it did that, it just made the suspension in the front uneven. So kind of putting these panels underneath the drive arms, it helps keep everything level, and then of course zip tying as well helps keep everything sturdy, and it bends it in the same kind of way it did before, taking tension off of the actual drive arm itself and putting it into the flexible plant-based mesh material that I had put for the base, so that we can get a little bit more racing out of it. It's, like I said, it's super flexible, so if it flexes in any direction, should be good. And like I said, takes pressure off of the actual broken piece here. So I'm hoping that it is a fix that lasts a little bit longer than a couple of drives. But other than that, I mean, like I said, the lights work. This motor is probably, it's the second motor I've had. It's honestly not in too good of a condition. I probably could buy another one, change it out. But you definitely want to like airbrush the motor out every time you use it if you're driving through gravel or dirt, even water, especially water. Tires are worn out a little bit, but that's just because, you know, I do a lot of racing on them. And these specific tires in the back are part of a armored truck that was released as a special $50, I think it was $50 that I paid for it, where Armo was just basically giving them away for fucking $50 during Christmas, and I picked one up. The truck didn't work. I mean, it worked for a while, and it broke when I took it to the skate park, which you guys can actually go and see a video of on my channel, Epic CW. It's in the links below. But I took those wheels off and fitted them on this again to get better acceleration off the line, and really when we're turning to have a little bit more center of gravity, so we're not flipping all the time, since I don't have the low center of gravity chassis to make up for that. But that is really all of the fixes that I've made on this car, and what the car's condition looks like after about a year of constant use personally for videos, and even just racing my dad, because he owns the RC car as well, which I don't actually think we've seen ever in our videos. But I might pull that out. I might pull that out just to show on a video at one point. Not now, but in the future. And like I said, that's basically how your car should look. You shouldn't have too many damages if you haven't bashed your car crazy. I mean, I've taken mine on the street, off-road, and I have crazy hills in the backyard you guys have seen on videos. So, you know, I don't think I bashed too hard. I bashed pretty hard, but I don't think it's like the craziest you could possibly bash. And I'm not always like refitting this car with parts. I'm kind of just like either doing a video or racing this thing, maybe fixing the tires or refilling the shock towers with oil, or maybe like I have to replace one of these arm guards, which I've done once. But that's about it. I'm not like, you know, fixing broken pieces, and if I am, it's getting either ordered and fixed easily, or it's something like this where I have to make a video soon with the car and something's getting jerry-rigged so that I can make this car work, and it might actually turn into a fix that works long term, and I don't have to actually fix the car for a while. But that was the Slash after a year of use. If you guys enjoyed the video and you want to see more, I might actually do this with some of my other cars. I know off the top of my head when I've bought a couple of them, so I could just, you know, look back and see when I ordered them, do other 1 year videos of where's the car now, what condition is it in, you know, what's the top speeds that we hit, or something like that. So if you guys enjoyed, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have not already. This is Wanyá, and I'm out. Peace.